Buenas tardes, good afternoon. Bienvenidos a ¿Qué pasa mujer? Welcome to ¿Qué pasa mujer? Estamos aquí todos los domingos a las 4 de la tarde. We're here every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We've been doing this for about 3 years. And so today we are still celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. For those of you that are celebrating or don't know, every year we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month from September the 15th until October the 15th. So we're still celebrating. This is something that we do on a yearly basis, and a lot of us Latinos celebrate, all year round. But this is a specific time where everybody partakes in the celebration. Estamos todavía celebrando el mes de la herencia hispana. Empezó septiembre 15 y termina octubre 15 en unos días. Entonces, este es nuestro último domingo celebrando el mes de hispanidad. Hoy vamos a tener un tema muy especial, es de dinero, de bienes de raíz. Today we're going to have an amazing show. We have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about money, economics, real estate in the Hispanic market. So we're extremely excited to talk about this topic. So we're going to go ahead and bring our guest. Mark, if you could go ahead and bring our special guest, Adriana Melendez. ¿Cómo estás?
Hola, hola, ¿cómo están? Buenas tardes. Bien,
Buenas
aquí.
tardes.
Un poquito de frío y con mucha lluvia, pero estamos bien.
Sí, lo bueno es que estamos adentro y tranquila, y es un domingo, entonces en realidad no se tiene que salir. Normalmente no se tiene que salir, pero yo hoy todo el día he estado como organizando, porque estos días que están así lluviosos, no me gusta estar en la calle, porque no sé, ya llegué a una etapa de mi edad que me gusta relajarme los domingos. ¿Y tú?
Qué bueno. Bueno, yo usualmente, tú sabes, con el trabajo que uno tiene, a veces uno trabaja el sábado, el domingo, el lunes, no hay día de descanso, pero hoy día no tenía mucho que hacer. Con mi esposo dijimos, ok, vamos a hacer un lazy day. Let's do a lazy day. Y
Oh,
what?
sí.
So that was good.
It's
I haven't done in a long time.
You gotta have the lazy days. Yeah, I know. For me as well, like I go so much during the week, and sometimes the weekend feels just like as if it was a weekday. So, but sometimes, thank God for the rain, it gives us an excuse to kind of stay home.
It does.
But it does, and I love it. So Adriana Melendez, we're gonna learn a little bit about her. I met her a couple of weeks ago at a community event, and I just, here in Que Pasa Mujer, we love to hear stories like yours, Adriana, in reference to your contribution to the community and how you are not only contributing yourself, but you're helping other people contribute as well. So typically, we always talk about the contribution that Latinos have in the United States. And I say the number, but I had to look up the number to make sure that I'm still current. So it looks like the U.S. economic contribution that Latinos contribute, and this is numbers from the Latino GDP, and it has reached a record of $4.1 trillion. So that is our contribution to the economy. We'll have another show to explain what GDP is, but this is just its numbers is finances in reference to what different people contribute to it. So we have continued to contribute to the economy. Adriana, and I think when we met, I mentioned that number just because I like to always mention data to people. I like to mention it to our people and also to people that are not our people, just to make sure that we are aware of the contributions that we are making. So part of the contribution is real estate. And Adriana, I know you do real estate. So I wanted you to tell us a little bit about how you came about doing real estate.
Well, how I came about doing real estate. We're going to go back a little bit again.
Mhm.
Well, first of all, I love to do real estate. It's such amazing seeing all these people that don't have anything. They come to this country and then, well, not everybody, right? But, a lot of the people that come to this country and then you look at them and then, they work so hard. And when they receive their keys to their house, it's such a different feeling because it's a great and a huge accomplishment. I mean, I remember my parents never had own house, but I'm from Ecuador, by the way. So my parents never had a house over there. We were always kind of moving around because they were always renting. And when they bought their first house in here, it was it was so good for them. It was such accomplishment. But going a little back. So I guess when we met, I told you a little bit of my story, which I feel like it's a good story because it's I have people asking me how you do it and why you do it, and I'm like, you know what? If you want to do something and you have the power to do it, as long as you're healthy, you can do it. Whatever whatever you put your mind into it, you can do it. So I came to the United States when I was about 17 years old. I came here with my dad. We technically, I was just a teenager, a hard-headed teenager. Then my dad said, "Well, I'm going to the United States because it was hard for him to find a job." He was young, but back in Ecuador, when you're like 35, 37, it's harder to find a job because they find the younger adults to pursue with the careers, so that was just cheaper, right? So there were, uh, he couldn't find a job, so he had to move and try to find a better. I mean, he needed money for us to leave, period. So he decided to move here to the United States, and I was like, okay, I'm going with you. If they give me the visa, I'm going with you. And then my mom was like, no, how are you gonna go over there? Because he doesn't know anybody. He's gonna start from scratch bottom. Like you don't know anybody. I was like, you know what? I want to go to school over there. I might have just finished high school over there. Acabo, 12th grade, so that way I can go, go to school because I wanted to go to college. I wanted to go to the university. I wanted to do that. That was one of my goals. I was like, okay, I'm leaving. So they gave me the visa. I was like, okay, bye. I see you. I'm leaving. Me voy. So I ended up coming with my dad. Like I said, I was 17. It was really tough. It was really hard because I know what is coming to a different country, no knowing the language. Yo no sabía nada de inglés. The only thing I knew was like, my name is Adriana. It was literally like the only thing I knew. We came here. We ended up in a motel, and now I know that the area that we were in at that time, it wasn't the best. Now I know when I used to go to the gas station, they used to honk. It was because it wasn't the best area. So yeah, we came here. I remember my dad not having that much money. If I'm not mistaken, he had like $500 in his pocket. Like he didn't have no money to come over here. It was just to make it happen.
Mhm.
And as a hard headed, like I said, we came here. He used to go to staffing companies, just like what you see on TV when you go to Home Depot and you stay there to see if you can find a job. So he did that for us, and I was there. I got sick at the beginning. Then we finally found somebody at church that we ended up renting a room. He was working. I started school. When I started school, then I worked. I was going to high school. Then I was working as a in a daycare. I love to work in a daycare. Not because I love kids. I really didn't like kids that much. It actually helped me so much to learn English because I wasn't embarrassed to talk to them in English, so
Mm.
they will correct me. So it's like okay. So then after, after that, like I said, we lived in a room. Then eventually, I learned a little bit of English. Then I was going to school. I was doing housekeeping and over the weekends. In my summer break, I started cleaning villas, housekeeping. I was working as many rooms I can so I can save some money because they'll pay you for rooms. So I was like, okay, I'm super quick. So I was trying to get it done so that way I can, because my idea was going back to Ecuador with my visa when my visa expires. So just to go back and forth because I wanted to go to school. I didn't want to miss my lose my status. Then after that happened, I eventually learned a little bit of English. So then I worked in the food court. All of the jobs that you can name. I work at the food court. I work in sales. Till eventually I could not go to school. It was hard for me to go to school. I wasn't able to go to school because I didn't have no papers. So I was trying to apply for a student visa, but things just got complicated. I couldn't do it, and I was like, okay. And then by that time, my mom have already moved here, and I was like, okay, I guess it's time for me to leave because I need to go to school. Like I wanted to go to school. Then I was gonna go to Chile or Argentina to study over there. And I believe in God. So God put my husband. I was 19 years old, and put the person that at that time was my husband. Which I married super young. I got married at 19 years old, and he was from Puerto Rico. So he gave me he gave me my papers. I was able to go to school, so I finished college. Then I went to UCF. I had a marketing degree at UCF, Universal Central Florida. But finished when I graduated, I what I was doing, I was finally doing what I wanted to do, marketing. I was finally, in my career. Then I had my son. But like I'll say like a year later, my husband, the person that I was married to, he had cancer. So he ended up, unfortunately, he didn't last that long. He passed away.
How long
So
were you
then
married for?
I was married for 8 years. We were married about 8 years, yes. And my son and I already had a son. He was already like he
Did
was
your
two.
mom ever come over here?
Yes, so in all of that, my mom was she was already here
Mm.
at the beginning. My mom and my brother and my sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Have you
so they
gone? So when you were married the first time, did you go back to Ecuador, or your mom just came here when you guys were able to?
she came here before I got married. She came here before I was married, and like because I had such a strong relationship with my mom that she was like, okay, I have to go over there because I can't be without you. So
Right.
she
Just
drives.
before you keep on going, so tell me a little bit about how your father or how your mom felt about you getting married at 19. Um, 'Cause that's kind of young, right? In today's world is a little bit young. So tell me a little bit about that. Why were they okay with it? Because I know you're saying you're a little bit rebellious, right? So were they okay with it? Did they buy into the idea? Because I could just imagine. I have a 21-year-old son and a 15-year-old son, and I don't know if I had a daughter that was 19 today. I'm not so sure that I would promote marriage that young.
No, it was. What can I tell you? I think, God, I never saw myself married at 19. Never. I mean, my dream was to go to school, finish my career, have my degree. And I think my parents had the same dream for me. But I had, I'm not gonna lie, like when I was getting married with him, we were together for not that long. I met my husband July 4th and we were getting married October 4th. So like just couple months.
Yeah.
But like my mom says right now, it's like it was something that I don't know. She was like, okay, we don't want you to get married, but it was something, and then there was like, okay, I guess it's right. It's okay. Like I said, it's so different. I I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it was if it was my ex boyfriend, they would have been like, oh my god, you're crazy.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but it was one of the main reasons was because I needed papers. Like I needed papers, and I needed papers because I wanted to go to school. And but they were at the beginning when I mentioned them, I was like, you know what? I've saved some money. Maybe just find somebody to marry it, and that's the only way. And they were so against it. They were like, no, blah blah. How are you gonna do that? And
Yeah, but
et
sometimes
cetera, et
that's the
cetera.
best avenue. That's, the best avenue. And luckily you were like in an actual relationship with him and you guys were married, like for real. It wasn't a setup for you to be able to be here legal. So I just think like you're saying, like things just kind of happen. I believe, right? A lot of things happen in our lives. We might have something mapped out, like this is what's going to happen when I'm 17, 18, 21, 25. But then life has its way of redirecting you, giving you a different route. And if one of those things is going to better you and your family, why not, right? So I'm glad that it ended up working out. And you had one child with him?
Yes, we did. We had my son, which is now 12 years old. He was two at the time that he passed away. But I don't know. I just believe that God sent me the little angel to literally
Mhm.
like help all my family because that's how we ended up. Everybody had ended up paperwork in here and everything. But like I said, it was just so strange the way that things happened that my parents weren't really against it. It was kind of like, okay, this is happening. How is it happening? And it just happened so fast that we didn't even thought about it. Um, me neither. Me, like I was like, oh my god, I'm 19. I don't want to get married. So that's we got married, but we were like, okay, listen, I need to finish school first. I don't want to have kids. Like I don't. I want to travel. I want to do all of these things. Like I really, I'm young. Um, but yeah, my parents, like I said, in this time it was just different. It was just, I guess it was just meant to be. Like God just put that in there, and we kind of just accepted it. They didn't take it hard, and for me, it wasn't. I don't know. Like I said, it was just meant to be.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. I mean, I'll say, my daughter comes now and say, when she turns at 19, it's like, you want to get married? I like, you're crazy. And my parents thought the same thing, the same, they were thinking the same thing, but it just, I don't know. It meant to be. It was meant to be.
Hmm.
Yeah. So when he passed away, it was very hard. I've never had anybody in my life passing away, dying, literally, or getting so sick. So it was super, super hard because, as much as you try to do things and, I read, I did this, I did that, we did everything we could. And, that we believed in God a lot. So we thought, okay, this is gonna happen. Like it's, you're gonna be alive. Like this, you're gonna, you're gonna be the testimony right there. But it did not. God had a purpose in his life, and he had to, he passed away. It was super hard. Then I had my son, so I never looked back. I was like, okay, I need to do this. I never really looked back. I was like, okay, this is my son. I have to keep going. There's no stopping. Long story short, at the end, I continued in Florida. Then eventually met who is my husband now. So he is in the military, and he ended up, he joined the Navy when we met. I was like, okay, yeah, you're cool. You should join the Navy. That's fine. But I never ended. I never thought I was gonna end up with him. So that's how we ended up in Virginia. Uh,
Mm.
and at that time, I already had my daughter, and I was like, okay, listen. For me. I don't know. Maybe it's because what I've been through. My family comes first. Like time for me, it's so valuable. I value time so much, especially with my kids and my family, because maybe it could be post traumatic situation that you say, okay, you already went through this. Life is so valuable. You never know when this things like this is gonna happen.
Mhm.
So I value my, time with my kids so much. So it's okay. I'm here. At that time already in Florida, I purchased a couple of properties already. You know, by myself, and I purchased properties already. I had about 4 properties in Florida. So when I came here, I was like, okay, Adriana, what are you gonna do? You can't be a housewife. Sorry, I'm like, unfortunately, I'm not that type of mom. I was like, okay, I tried. I came here, I was like, okay, let's do this. I'm just cooking, I'm doing this and doing that. I was like, okay, I need to do. And I did have my income from my properties. Like, I had an income coming in, a passive income, which is good. But I can't be like that. I have to move, I have to do things. Then I was like, okay, I need time with my kids. So then that's what ended up doing real estate. So I was like, okay, let me get my license with real estate. And my idea at the beginning was, listen, you're gonna just go sell a house every 2 months or one every 3 months. You stay time with, you still have time with the kids, you still have income coming in, and you're at least doing something else. But that did not happen. Thankfully, it did not happen. I made my first client, and then eventually I saw, because obviously coming from Florida, everybody speaks Spanish. So everybody, everywhere you went, Walmart, you went to anywhere you had somebody to speak Spanish because everybody speaks Spanish over there. Well, over here it was different. So a lot of people didn't speak Spanish. It's like, okay, Adriana, I guess what's going on, what's happening with the Latinos. We need to find them. And then that's how it started. Everything started like that. Then I started researching for loan officers that speak Spanish because I wanted to, introduce myself to them and see what we can do with the community. Then I met with a loan officer that speaks Spanish, and from now on, then I'm super grateful with all of the Latinos because I started. My market is, I'm not gonna say strictly Latinos, but I'll say like 85% of my market of my clients are Hispanic speaking clients, and super grateful because the way that they see the way they see your job is not, I have a lot of friends now. I have a lot of friends. They don't, they just, it's not like you sell the house and you're done. They're so appreciative of what you do for them that's how I grew. That's how I grew my business. That's how I have referrals. That's how, mi primo me
It's a lot
dijo.
of word of mouth.
Exactly. It's a lot of word of mouth. Mind me, I came here, I didn't know anybody. I had no support. I had my kids with me all the time. I didn't know, a lot of the times real estate mean, it's networking, who you know. Because if I would have done in Florida, I maybe would have done, I don't know what would happen, but I knew a lot of people because I lived there for so many years. But in here, I had no one, and with my kids too. So then I guess everybody was just so grateful of what we're doing with them, that you have word of mouth, people just referring you, and then you have other people referring you. Adriana me ayudó. She's such a good person. I have clients that, like I was telling you that day, it's so amazing helping them, because I have clients that they don't even know how to write or read sometimes. And yes, you may work a little bit harder than other agents, because there's the paperwork. So unfortunately, there's no paperwork in Spanish. Everything is in English, right? You may have agents, and I work with loan officers, accountants, and everybody speaks Spanish, but not in English. But the paperwork is usually in English. So then I have to sit down with them and translate inspection, translate paperwork,
Yeah.
translate absolutely everything. Because, like I'm telling you, there's some clients that they don't even know how to read and write in Spanish nor in English. So, but it's very
It's great
satisfactory.
that it's great that you're able to help such a great population. ¿Cuántos años tienen tus hijos ahora?
So, yo tengo tres hijos. El uno tiene 12 años, el primero tiene 12 años, tengo una nena de 6 y tengo ahora un bebé de un año.
Mm. Y tú has visto la edad, we're going to switch up a little bit in Spanish.
Perfecto.
Eh, tú has visto como un trend, digamos, de la gente que está comprando las casas, son más o menos de qué edad, o sea, un promedio en los 30, 40, ¿ves que gente menor está comprando más?
Sabes que, bueno, verás, hay de todo un poco, porque tú tienes a los latinos, ¿no? Que han trabajado toda su vida y que están pensando regresarse a su país y hasta ahora no se regresan y al fin dicen, bueno, ¿para qué construyo acá y voy a construir acá? Tengo clientes que son adultos, que estamos hablando tal vez de los 50, 60 años. Muchos son igual, como diría en los 30, la mayoría como mi edad, ¿verdad? En los 38 por ahí. Ahora, sí se está viendo más ahora que existe ya más educación para la comunidad, ¿no? Ahora no, tuve un cliente que tenía 21 años, súper jovencito. Se está viendo más de eso en la comunidad, que la comunidad ya se está educando un poco más y está pudiendo, desde más jóvenes, ¿no? Porque recuerda que creo, lo que uno tenía siempre en mente era que, ok, tú te casas después de esto y como que ya en los 30 por ahí es que empiezas a buscar casas y cosas así, pero sí se está viendo mucho más ahora, más jóvenes tratando de adquirir propiedades. Yo a veces tengo, y incluso, por ejemplo, en la parte militar, ¿no? Porque como mi esposo es militar, ahí veo mucho más jóvenes, jóvenes que tienen 19 años, 20 años, porque para ellos, claro, es un poquito más accesible comprar una casa por el tipo de préstamo, etcétera, pero
Ujú.
sí se está viendo más. Yo, por ejemplo, pensar que yo podía haber comprado una casa a los 18 años, a los 19 años,
Sí,
hubiese
sí.
sido.
Es que yo pienso que la mentalidad es de nosotros, de nuestra cultura, es voy a la escuela, me caso y después se compra una casa, como que tienes que estar casado primero para poder comprar una casa, pero es muy posible hacerlo uno solo. Por ejemplo, yo compré mi primera casa aquí en Virginia cuando yo tenía, creo que tenía como 22 años, 21, 22 años. Y yo no estaba casada, pero fue porque mi mamá me empujó a comprar esa casa. Era un foreclosure. Entonces yo lo compré, yo era soltera, pero a uno le da mucho miedo comprar una propiedad a esa edad, pero si no fuera por mi mamá apoyarme o decirme, no te preocupes que si algo pasa, yo siempre voy a estar ahí disponible para ti, pero si uno no tiene ese apoyo o si tú no has visto que eso existe en otras personas, por ejemplo, me imagino que en el militar, o sea, se ve de cuántas cosas que es posible hacerlo, pero alguien que no está en el militar y, por ejemplo, tener 20 años y comprar una propiedad, mucho miedo.
Sí, eso, más por la cultura que uno tiene, ¿no? Pero como te digo, ahora yo creo que de lo que yo he visto es que la gente se está educando más. Hay más educación. Ese miedo que uno tenía siempre de serlo jovencita, es como que como que ya no existe tanto, ya no existe como ese tabú tan grande de que, ok, estoy tan jovencita, ¿cómo voy a hacer esto si es que esto me pasa y es que esto no me pasa? Y claro, también es otro mundo, ¿no? Es un mundo tan diferente que ahora tenemos acceso a tantas cosas que antes no teníamos acceso, teníamos... Ahora, por ejemplo, tú sabes, ahora tú buscas una información, entras a ChatGPT, ChatGPT te responde y te dice
Ujú,
lo que antes tocaba buscar y ver lo que hay. Eso sí, pero siento que la comunidad se está, o sea, se está educando más, ¿no? Incluso
ujú,
los jóvenes tienen menos miedo al poder adquirir una propiedad porque se dan cuenta que hay un valor en ella, o sea, que no es que estás perdiendo el dinero, no es que estás... Y recuerda que también hay muchos jóvenes que vienen de otros países jóvenes. O sea, vienen a veces están solos y vienen aquí jóvenes también a hacer, o sea, a construir un futuro para ellos, ¿no? Y eso,
ujú,
entonces ahí es que ven las ganas de poderse comprar una casa.
ujú.
Pero sí
Yeah.
se ve mucho más que antes, ¿verdad? Porque antes creo que no había tantos, los resources, no había tantos. Y
Yeah.
ahora, si tú te das cuenta, igual ahora la comunidad latina, por ejemplo, ahora mismo cuando los intereses subieron, que estaban al 7%, 8%, la comunidad americana, por ejemplo, el valor de las casas, el monto, o sea, cuántas personas estaban comprando casas en los americanos bajaron porque les daba miedo, pero el mercado latino nunca bajó, se quedó muy estable.
Ujú.
Y siento que es porque uno sabe, no sé, ¿no? Yo siempre he dicho, yo no me puedo, o sea, no me voy a morir de hambre. No, no hay
Yeah, that's
mañana
not
que me
an
muera de
option. Mhm.
hambre, porque uno es trabajador, uno trabaja para tener lo que tienes. Y creo que muchos de los latinos, la mayoría son trabajadores, no es que están buscando muchas ayudas, no están buscando eso. O para ellos, por ejemplo, los intereses, personas con Tax ID que no tienen su seguro social, los intereses son igual un poco más altos y así no les para. O sea, igual ellos siguen y dicen, ok, está bien, mi idea es pagar esa casa más antes, del interés no me importa mucho, solo hacen.
Mhm.
Entonces,
Mhm.
en ese sentido, incluso cuando los intereses estaban altos, la comunidad latina se ha mantenido estable comprando sus casas.
Ujú, sí, sí. Esa fue otra estadística que vi, que muchos hispanos están ganando más de $100,000 al año. Entonces tienen los recursos disponibles, como tú dices, right? Comprar una propiedad y no me interesa mucho lo del interés porque sé que lo voy a pagar rápido. Por ejemplo, mi abuelita, ella compró su casa, mi abuelita tiene 89 años y creo que... no sé, tengo que preguntarle cuántos años ella tenía cuando compró un apartamento, pero ella lo pagó en 13 años.
Imagínate,
Y ella no se graduó de high school, pero la mentalidad de ella es yo voy a trabajar, voy a ahorrar dinero y voy a hacer pagos adicionales para poder tener mi propiedad porque a nosotros nos gusta comprar, tú sabes, en efectivo. Eh, no nos gusta mucho sacar muchos
¿verdad?
préstamos. Ujú. Entonces, sí, yo pienso que eso es muy importante. Antes de que sigamos a la próxima pregunta, vamos a saludar a nuestra audiencia, Tangi, que nos dijo hola, ladies. Mary también, que normalmente está con nosotros, y Lili Matos también nos están saludando. Yeah, so like I love this topic because we get to empower ourselves buying real estate, right? And so, as you were saying, Adriana, you were saying that the Latino community really hasn't felt the hit of the economy of the real estate. We have continued to still purchase properties. When we purchase properties, because you are able to purchase property even if you don't have a social security number, you can use your tax ID number, correct?
Correct, yes. So there's so many resources. So that's what happened too, you know. Before we didn't have the resources were available, but people didn't look for them, or it wasn't, it wasn't so open to the public, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you maybe were able to do loans with tax ID, but people weren't aware of it. But now people are.
Right.
So that's what, even if you don't have even if you don't have your papers, you have a tax ID, you're able to purchase a
You
property.
can still purchase a house,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And like you were saying, the interest rates may be a little bit higher, but Latinos don't, they understand that and they don't have a problem paying a little bit higher rates. But because in their mind, we're going to pay this property off in less than 30 years. So majority of the Latinos are not waiting 30 years to pay off their properties. They're doing it in less time.
That
So
is correct.
the concern of paying higher interest rates is not a concern so much because they know that they're going to pay it off. So I think that's amazing. One of the things that I was mentioning too is just the income that we're making. It's over $100,000. A lot of families are making over $100,000. I also see how there's I don't know if this has always been going on because I don't know, Adriana, but I see a lot of partnership with marriages. I see a lot of the husbands and the wives coming together. Like I see a lot of people, let's say, that have construction companies. So it's like the wife is taking care of the administrative work and the husband is taking care of the actual labor work. I've also seen, I have a friend that does counseling, and so they own a counseling services, and she does a lot of the admin work and a lot of the money work while he's out networking and just finding contracts. So I see a lot of partnership. Do you see that? Do you see that the married couples that you're selling to, do you see that partnership?
Yes. So you see that, and you also, because especially in the culture, right? I'm not just saying, especially in the culture, you had that, the thing that the woman is the one that stays at home and the guy is the one that goes and provides to the family. But that's true though. Like right now, you still see that. I mean, you still see that because a lot of the times paying a daycare is better. It's better to stay at home with your kids because daycare it's very pricey.
Expensive.
It's really
Mhm.
expensive. But you do see a lot. So I'll say the majority of of couples, they both work. Um, they both work. There are people, the guys usually the one that provides, but they do work. Now you also see a lot of single moms. I mean, single moms are go getter. I was a single mom for a while, and all I could think was like I need to provide for my kid, and need to make this happen, and nobody's gonna stop me.
Right, right, right. Yeah,
So
that's what we were saying, right? The mentality is like I'm never not gonna have. I'm always gonna have because I'm gonna grind and I'm gonna work for it to make sure that it happens. So yeah, that's
exactly,
and
yeah.
it's definitely cultural. I know for me, my family is very female strong, and so the women tend to dominate. The relationship, the kids, they're the ones that are in charge of discipline, where that's not typical per se in our culture, but in my family it's like that. I When I was married, I didn't take on those behaviors, but like I was okay with it. But definitely I see it in a lot of the women in my family, just very go-getters. One thing that I am is just I'm big on the partnership, right? When it comes to like relationships, when it comes to romantic relationships and non-romantic relationships, because I think we work better as a team, right? We get to our goal quicker. So I think that's always most effective. But I have seen, even in just regular relationships, not a real estate transaction, but I just see a lot of partnership lately with Latinos. I know it has always been the case, typically, right? That men would work and they just give the wife all of their money, and then the wife manages the money. I still see that happening today. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, it still happens. You remember, it's like a tradition, or I guess, that comes from years and years and years. And I believe that women manage money better than guys, but I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, I do see it. But I do see more, though, the partnership that you're talking about. um because I don't know, I guess like so, like now it's different, right? Because right now, and you have, like you're saying, it's a partnership between not even just work inside, because most of the couples already work, they both work, so they both have to help at home, they both have to help with the kids. So I do see that now more than what it was before.
Hmm.
But you will still see, the guy provide and the girl stays at home. You also see that, especially a lot in the Hispanic community. But I feel like it has shifted a lot because I guess women, I mean, girls don't want to, like, I didn't want to be at home, but I mean, I still do both things. I still, I still do all of the housewife stuff, and I also work. But yeah, a lot of, now is a lot of partnerships.
Mm. Tell me a little bit about your company name. What is your company called? And how did you
So,
come up with the name?
so my company, after doing real estate for I believe it was like 2 years, I decided to create my company. The name of the company is A&J Real Estate Group. So I joke about this, but A stands for Adriana, J stands for John, which is my husband. And I always joke about this. I was like, okay, if I ever get divorced or something happens to my husband, my son's name is Joshua. So I was like, okay, A&J Real Estate Group. That's basically, why what was the name of the company. So the company I created because when I started real estate, I wanted to do this, right? I wanted to do this. And I started in a team and I didn't really have a support whatsoever. It was very hard to find the support. So I was the one calling the lawyers. I was the one calling this, doing my research because I didn't have a support. And when I created my company, that's what I wanted. I wanted, if agents wanted to, start a real estate, I didn't want them to feel lost. I wanted somebody to actually support them during that process because it's not easy. For me, it wasn't that hard because I've already purchased property, so I was in the market already. But when you don't know anything about it and you don't have, the mentorship behind you or helping you, telling you what you have to do or why you do it, or a little bit knowledge about the loans or things like that, it gets hard. So that was the main reason why I created the company, and so that way I can mentor other real estate agents.
Mm. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's good. Our co-host Maddie Garcia, she's in the banking industry, and so she's always talking about educating yourself, right? And like how you were saying, Adriana, there are a lot of resources. We just don't know that the resources are there, and so I think it's amazing because you're going to continue to grow because you're giving back, right? You're not hoarding the information. You're consulting other people into going into the business that you're with, that you do, and so I think that's great that you do that. Tell me a little bit about your partnership with other mortgage companies. Like, who else do you partner up with besides mortgage companies?
Okay, so usually, this is like a little circle, right? Because when you're gonna buy a house, you have you finances. So there is, accountants that I partner with. It's not really a partnership, but it's, yes, I mean, I know how they work. They speak Spanish. They go to the Spanish community, and believe it or not, as being a Hispanic, um, you do prefer somebody to speak Spanish so you can understand what is happening, right? Even though like I speak English, but sometimes like, okay, wait, wait. And and I obviously understand it, but sometimes it's okay if they explain to me in Spanish, I'm like, okay, I get it better than what is in English. So same thing. So we're talking about accountants, loan officers. There is sometimes credit repairs if you need to repair your credit, things like that. But those are like the major I'll say like partnerships that we'll have because it's very important for you, like especially there's always, in the mortgage side, there's no just like I always tell my clients, there's especially in the Hispanic community, there's no black and white. There's gray, there's yellow, there's pink. There's a whole rainbow of colors because every situation is completely different. Especially, there's work permits, there's asylum. There's so many things around it, and all the lenders are, that all of the lenders know all of this. So that's why it's very important whenever you're gonna buy a house, try to educate yourself because not everybody knows what the Hispanic market is. You
Right.
don't because you need to know, like that what type of work permit they have. Do they have when you go and apply to Bank of America, they may tell you. I had a client. The Bank of America told her, "Yes, you're getting the loan." I mean, she was with another different agent, but you getting the loan. She purchased, she went on the contract. She was like that, and the day that she was going to close, they denied the loan because they realized she didn't have a social security. She had a tax ID. um so you see, those are the things that come, in the process, very important because I had clients that, okay, they told me yes. I'm like, do you tell them that you have this work permit? The type of grants you're getting, are they aware of your status? Because they need to know what's going on in order for them. Oh no, yeah, you see, because maybe this status won't qualify for this. Oh no, all the lenders do tax ID loans. Some do, some don't. Some of the lenders now, there's another lender that's doing like a 5% tax ID down payment, which a lot of the people don't know about it. So it's very important for you, especially when you're going to buy a house, that you find, I'm not saying find somebody that speaks Spanish, but find somebody that knows about the community and knows, has the resources, so that way you can educate yourself and see, okay, what are my real options, know what the options they're giving me, and I think they're true, but I don't know if it's going to happen at the end.
Right, right. Do you see that real estate is leveling off? Like there's different phases of the market, right? Sometimes
Correct.
it's a seller's market, sometimes it's a buyer's market, sometimes it's an investor's market. Where do you think we're at now, and what's the trend?
It is. So obviously I can't speak right here, in the Hampton Roads area, because that's my market where I am. The markets in different states are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
I can speak from Florida a little bit because I still have properties over there, but especially here in Hampton Roads, it is. So it was the seller's market. I'll say maybe till like last couple months, I'll say maybe like 3 or 4 months, you'll see more, seller's market, where you were, as a buyer, you weren't able to negotiate as much when you purchase a house. But what I've seen in the past, in like the last 3 months, is leveling up. Yeah. So the properties are lasting a little bit longer. Buyers are able to, to purchase, the buyers are having more power to purchase the properties. So like right now we have like different contracts, and I'll say like from four of them, we're receiving closing costs from the sellers, which we didn't see before. And people think the interest rates are went down a lot. Unfortunately, the interest rates haven't gone down, like, as tremendously as they did like 2 or 3 years ago, but it is leveling up. I mean, you see a little bit more. It's not just the buyers now. I'm sorry, it's not just the sellers. The buyers are having a little bit more power when purchasing a house.
Okay. And so you said earlier that I have two questions. So the first question is, if my business is buying a property, they're using my tax ID number, right?
Correct. So see, if you buy a property with your business, it depends what type of loan you use. So it's just like a different, robo, but it depends what type of loan you use. If you use like a non-conforming loan, they'll use your credit from your personal credit. It won't go on your credit, but you will use your credit. So they will use your credit, your personal credit as reference, but they won't whenever your payments and whatsoever won't go to your credit. Now, if you buy in as a LLC, but your LLC already has credit, so that the bank can take that in consideration. But they can use your own credit, but they will just only see, they use your credit as reference, but they'll see that your company's expenses. So
Gotcha.
it all
And so
depends.
the ID number is equivalent to having a tax ID number, correct?
Correct. So the IT number is basically, the IT number technically is equivalent to have a social security number. So it's a tax
Gotcha.
ID. So it's a tax ID. So a lot of people, when you don't have a social security, you don't have a residence, you don't have a legal status here, you're able to get a tax ID number, which is an IT number. With
Which is
that,
how we pay taxes.
correct, exactly. So that's basically the way you do it. So because technically you have, it's the same amount of numbers in there, and you can create credit with your tax ID, with your IT.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you do your company, is an EIN number. So that's a little different than what is a tax ID.
Got it. And then my other question was, I did hear you saying that when you went into real estate, you were thinking about just doing like one house every month or something like that. What are you doing now? What are your numbers looking like?
Well, thankfully, in the past years, I've done about like 30 to 35 transactions in a year. So I've
Okay.
helped a lot, about 30 to 35 people, families in a year. One of, in the Hampton Roads area, there's about, I'll say about 8,500 agents. There's a lot of agents. There are a lot of agents. So then you know that you have you have the categories. So basically, I'm in the top. I'll say like last year I was in the top 6% of the in the industry, and I'm
Mm.
telling you, 90% of those are the Hispanics.
Wow, very good. And so I know your sister works with you as well. You've made it into a family affair.
Yes. So my sister and my husband got their license now. So we are,
Mm.
a family business. It's awesome because, I was doing this, like I said, I had a team, I had a small team, but everybody, when you learn and you're ready to go, you have to fly away, and then you have to, and you go do your own things, which is very normal. But having my husband and having my sister is amazing because I can really, now sometimes if I'm like, okay, babe, can you go do this open house for me? I don't want to go. I want to stay with the kids. He's like, okay, I got you. So he goes and do
Right.
it. So we were,
So maybe one of you need to get your lender's license.
let's see. Let's see. We're thinking about it, but let's see. My next step right now is what I was telling you before. Is I'm trying to get my North Carolina license so we can expand a little bit in that way, especially here in Virginia. A lot of military sometimes they want to go back to North Carolina. The Hispanic community, they like a lot of land, right? They like land. And over here, I mean, you don't see that much. But I mean, if you go to Suffolk, maybe you go to Franklin, then you can see a little bit more land. But North Carolina, you can see a little bit more land for less price. So a lot of people do move to North Carolina. So that's one of like my next steps.
Okay. And then you said how old is your oldest?
12. He's 12.
12. He's 12. And so do you see any entrepreneurship genes with any of your kids?
I don't know. He tries to sell stuff at school, and I say you can't because I don't know if you're gonna get in trouble. uh, I don't know, because but here's a little different. Like I used to, because
What
my
is
mom
he
was,
selling?
he was doing like little notebooks. He was buying candy and wanted to sell
He won't get in
candy.
trouble because my son was selling pencils at one point.
Okay.
And at one point, he was selling hot Cheetos, hot fries,
Mm-hmm.
and drinks. So I was like, I love the entrepreneurship spirit. There was some time that he wanted to do people's homework, and I was like, no, you cannot charge for that. So it just depends. But I did tell him I love the entrepreneurship spirit, but you do have to manage it because it can't get out of hand because our children do get creative.
Yeah, I told him that. He was like, okay, mommy. He went to a dance the other day. He's like, okay, I bought a whole pizza. It was cheaper than buying by his license. And I was like, then I was selling this license. I was like, oh my God, Josh. Like, yeah,
Yes, I
mommy,
love it.
I don't know, it wasn't that much. It was like I make like $5. I was like, okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, he seems, I guess like all of my kids see that we just don't stand and like just see it to see what happens. Like we go get it and we, especially my son, I feel like sometimes we have a little more special bond. I love my kids all, the same, but he has seen me in the different stages of my life, I'll say. So I do. I mean, I don't know what he's gonna do with his life, but I do see the selling side of it or like the go-getter side of it. And sometimes I was like, okay, you need to, it's okay. Because that's
Yeah.
how it started. I mean, my mom was always like that. She was always she's always, I mean, she's still like that. She's a go-getter. And obviously my dad is super hard worker too, but I used to sell stickers at school. I used to sell candy, and I was like, all of the stuff. And then I see that in my son. I was like, okay, that's awesome. But I just, over here is a little different. So I was like, okay, baby, I guess you just have to let's try to do outside of school, maybe.
Right, right, right. So I can see, how rewarding doing real estate could be, but I'm sure there are some challenges. And one challenge that I could think of is somebody wants to buy a house, they don't qualify to buy a house. What do you do with a situation like that? How does that make you feel, and what do you do about it?
Oh no. So, there's plenty of people that that unfortunately can't buy it right now, but there's also a plan that you can have, right? The way that I tell them is, okay, listen, you have in your mind that you wanna purchase a house. It could be tomorrow, it could be in a couple months, it could be in a couple years. But you need to know what is your plan, what is your game plan, how are you gonna get there? Because sometimes they're like, okay, I want to buy it, but I have no idea what to do. And then, they apply and they don't qualify. Their credit's too low or they don't have credit. A lot of the times in the Hispanic community, unfortunately, like you said, we like to pay cash. So they don't like to build credit. They're afraid of credit cards. They're afraid of credit cards. They have the income, but they don't have the credit. Okay, listen, this is your game plan. You need to do this, this, and this. You need A, B, and C. You have A and B. We need C. Go to the bank. You're going to get a secure credit card with a $500. You're not going to spend that much money. You have to use it a certain way. Within 3 or 6 months, you already have your credit. With your income, you're ready to go. Now, I've always tell this story. So I have this young couple. They're very young, and I love them. They're amazing. So I met with them about like 3 years and a half. I believe it was like 3 years and a half. We sit down. We saw their options. I was like, okay, listen, we're gonna meet with the loan officer, and they have a game plan, right? So you have to do this. The income was a little low, so we have to do this. You start a new company now. You have to, we're gonna give you the number of an accountant so that way that she can guide you how to do your taxes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It took them. She always tells me, so you know what, 3 years, 3 years and a half. So it took them like about 3 years and a half, but they have a house now. So there's also a plan, right? There's always a plan, as long as you take the advantage of the initiative or educate yourself or see why you need for you. And a lot of the times what I tell them is like, stop listening to TikTok and listen to my TikTok, but no, I'm just kidding. Stop listening to your neighbors, stop, because a lot of the times people tell you, especially, I've heard so much like, oh no, they told me market's gonna crash, why would I buy right now? And I was like, okay, listen, how much you paying in rent? Like what's happening, right? So, but if you educate yourself and you see what you need for you in order, for you to get your house, there's always a game plan. So yeah, there are challenges, but as long as you want to put the work into it, right? Because you can't come and say, okay, I want to buy a house. I don't have A and B, but you don't want to do A and B. We'll give you the resources. I'll tell you what you have to do to get A and B, but you have to want it. You have to work for it. So it's not really the challenge will be in there if you have somebody that wants to buy it but don't want to do the work.
Understood. Have you seen in communities or as you're selling properties, I don't know how much rental business you do, but have you noticed any neighborhoods that are not so happy that Latinos are buying or renting in those areas?
I have not. I honestly, not, I'm not gonna lie, I have not, because they can't really, by law, nobody can really tell you any of that. Uh,
Mm,
yeah, unfortunately, no. I mean, I have not.
that's
Uh,
good.
exactly. I mean, that's good. And you see, I mean, what I've seen in here, I feel like the Latinos, especially in Hampton Roads, since I moved in, which is not that long, but like since 6 years, it's has changed tremendously. Like I see Latinos everywhere. I didn't have a Latino neighbor here, and now I'm like, okay, but I have a Latino neighbor right there. So it has
Mm.
grown a lot.
Do people go to you as well when they're buying a trailer home or like an actual standing home?
So they come to me sometimes to ask me, but when they buy a mobile home or a trailer home, unfortunately, it's not considered a house. It's considered more like an auto, like a mobile home. So
Mhm.
it's they don't. Unfortunately, I can't do much with them. I'll guide them a little bit or what I know, but they don't usually because it's like you're selling a car, but
Mhm.
it's like you're buying or selling a car basically.
Right, 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 right. Okay. So I'm just going to go back to Spanish a little bit just to kind of go over some of the stuff that you said in English because some stuff I think it's extremely important for the non-English speaking audience to listen to as well. Pero te había preguntado que es muy positivo todo lo que tú haces, pero algunas veces hay algunas situaciones que no son tan positivas. Entonces, ¿qué haces en la situación cuando tienes alguien que no fueron aprobados un préstamo para comprar una casa?
Correcto. So, en ese caso, como yo te decía, es que no es que no sea positivo, ¿no? Porque igual lo que yo decía, lo negativo es cuando tienes a alguien que quiere comprar, pero no quiere realizar el trabajo. Porque sí o sí, si tú quieres aplicar y no calificas, se puede hacer un plan. Como decía, puede ser un plan de que puedes comprar la casa en unos meses, tal vez en un año o tal vez en 2 años, dependiendo de la situación en la que estás. So, en realidad no es mucho como el challenge, ¿verdad? No es mucho como lo negativo, porque se puede. Mientras tengas ese plan y quieras hacerlo, se puede. Lo negativo es cuando muchas veces quieres llegar aquí, pero no quieres hacer el trabajo. No, hay veces clientes que te dicen, ok, Adriana, yo quiero, por ejemplo, para comprar una casa uno tiene que hacer sus taxes, sus impuestos y lamentablemente para revisarte el ingreso, ¿verdad? Dependiendo del tipo de préstamo, tienes que pagar al IRS porque esa es la manera que uno comprueba al banco de que uno tiene un ingreso cuando tienes compañías, por ejemplo. Muchas veces no quieren hacer eso. Entonces, ahí es donde viene el challenge, ¿no? Ahí viene lo negativo. Cuando a veces quieren llegar y tener su casa y lo pueden hacer, tienen el plan para poder hacerlo, pero no lo quieren hacer.
Mm, sí, porque se toma tiempo y es tarea.
Exacto, eso. Y muchas veces, tú sabes, uno no quiere, por ejemplo, cuando tienes tu compañía, ¿no? Y haces los impuestos, nadie quiere pagar la IRS. Exactamente, nadie quiere pagarlo, pero lamentablemente toca hacerlo, ¿verdad? Hay veces que no lo quieren hacer. Son realidades, eso es como te digo, eso es más el problema cuando no quieren poner el trabajo. O hay veces, he tenido a veces clientes, ok, queremos recibir esta ayuda, tienes que recibir esta clase en español. Oh, no, pero son muchas horas. Lamentablemente, para poder recibir esa ayuda que el gobierno te está dando, tú tienes que seguir esa clase. Cositas así, o sea, cuando no quieren poner el trabajo, ahí es cuando se vuelve difícil, pero el resto no, porque todo se puede llegar a hacer, con un plan, o sea, con un plan de trabajo en lo que tienes que hacer, se puede llegar.
Frustrante.
Un poquito, pero ya hay mucha paciencia.
Sí, porque aparte de que se lo hagas, es la única manera que se puede hacer. Pero sí,
Exacto.
me encanta todo el trabajo que estás haciendo. Me encanta que tu familia está incorporada en los negocios tuyos. Eh, Me encanta tu historia. Nosotros tuvimos una muchacha en el show que te voy a conectar con ella si quieres, pero ella tiene un podcast y ella le encanta tener invitados para que cuenten su historia de inmigración, de cómo migraron de su país a este país. Entonces ella tiene eh, lista de personas que han estado en su podcast diciendo nuestras historias, porque diciendo nuestras historias podemos demostrar que, o sea, que nosotros somos tenemos mucho potencial para hacer lo que nosotros queremos hacer. Y alguna gente viene aquí como tú, legalmente, alguna gente viene aquí ilegalmente, pero cuando llegamos aquí, la mayoría yo veo, o sea, no tengo las estadísticas, pero sí veo que nosotros trabajamos muy fuerte y
Sí.
en realidad cuando tú me dices que tú puedes hacer, en qué puedes trabajar, no importa si es limpiando, rompiendo, arreglando, nosotros tratamos de trabajar, porque eso es la razón primordial porque la gente viene para aquí es para trabajar.
Para un mejor futuro. Yo
Ujú.
siempre digo que yo aprendí, ¿no? Que si es que lo único que uno puede, lo que único que en realidad uno necesita es ganas, bueno, Dios, ¿verdad? Te digo, bueno, creo mucho en Dios, pero salud.
Yeah.
Salud es lo más importante porque si no tienes salud no puedes hacer nada. Salud
Mhm.
y las ganas de trabajar, porque de poder se puede.
Yes.
Y como tú dices, ¿no? O sea, no, maybe todos tienen su historia, ¿no? Todo el mundo tiene su historia y su historia pues, es más difícil o peor, pero yo vine igual aquí desde nada, o sea, no tuvimos absolutamente nada, 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 nada. Y ahora no es que tenga millones, como siempre digo, no, no tengo millones, pero gracias a Dios tengo tengo salud, tengo una familia hermosa y vivo una vida tranquila.
No, y la cantidad de familias que has podido ayudar para que puedan hacer lo que ellos quieren hacer. Entonces, eso es estupendo. Te quiero agradecer por darnos tu tiempo hoy, porque sé que es un domingo de relajamiento, pero sí te agradezco que viniste a decirnos tu historia y a darnos energía positiva para que sepamos que todo es posible si ponemos el trabajo, right?
Así es.
Si no hace, if we don't do the work, it's not going to happen. But if you do the work, it has much potential and it could definitely be done. So gracias por estar con nosotros hoy.
No, y a ustedes, gracias por tenerme. Muy, muy, muy agradecida.
Qué bueno que te conocí hace poquito.
Sí.
So normalmente nosotros terminamos el show con un poema de Maddie. Maddie is not here with us today, but you know we still do one of her poems. So we've been doing this for 3 years, and for 3 years we always have a poem by Maddie or one of her colleagues. So our lovely producer Mark is going to go ahead and play. I don't know what poem he's going to have today, Maddie, because I know Maddie's listening to us. She's watching us as well. So we're ready for the poem, Mark.
My feels all day, well, since yesterday, so I'm just gonna read today. So click, click, pose. Look closely. Can you see the void beneath the surface? In the eyes, the empty spaces, loneliness, screaming, crying, losing hope, begging for someone to notice, barely hanging on. A smile. It's what happens right before the break. Before the beast tears off my chest, the constant battle with this demon who threatens to drown me whole. I try to loosen from his grip. I swim up to the surface, hoping to get to breathe. Pose. For a second, I try hard to forget how the weight of the world pulls me down. At night, I can't sleep. Nightmares on Elm Street. I stay awake thinking of ways to stay alive, yet I close my eyes. I lay in a postpartum state, so when the Grim Reaper finds me, his job is more than halfway done. I am done, but I survive. For some strange reason, I get to do it again. It's Groundhog's Day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. They all feel the same. I feel the same exact pain. I cast a lifeline into the world in desperate mode. Click, click, pose. My brain, unsteady, like an elephant walking a tightrope. Scattered puzzle pieces that can't seem to make a coherent thought. I think of Chesley, attorney, spokesperson, Miss USA, who had her shit together and still she killed herself. From the 29th floor, she jumped. Depression knows no gender, socioeconomic status. Hurt is hurt. Some can voice it better. Others get lost in the waves. Most days, I surf. It is on those better days I take selfies instead of asking for help. You never know what's been brewing when someone is in a dark place. So when you see those selfies, don't just click on the picture. Check on your strong friends.
Thank you, Mark. One of my favorite poems. So hopefully you can join us again, Adriana.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, because there's so much
Super
to talk
excited.
about.
I know that hour goes like this.
Sí, rápido, rápido. You know, they say when you're having fun, time flies.
Yeah.
Tangi said, thank you so much for the wealth of information and knowledge you shared today, Adriana. Everyone have a wonderful week on purpose. Yes. So Tangi always says have a wonderful week on purpose. So that's what we try to do as much as possible. So again, Adriana, thank you so much for joining us today. And we are here. We expect everyone to be with us next Sunday at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. But thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Are just so impressed with them. Like I said, we've been with them for years. I will recommend and refer anyone to them. We stand by A+ academics. They're the best.
A+ tutorial really did help me with all my grades. They all went up when I came to this place. And I would say I recommend this school to everyone.
So it's a really good environment to be in, especially for me because it makes me look up to my parents.
If you have students that need academic help, A+ Academics is the place to be. A+ Academics, what a great place to go for academics.
It's just a really great place to learn.